How's it going there, everybody? It's Mr. Zen over here bringing you guys a brand new Samurai Jack episode discussion. As for today's segment, guys, we're going to be talking about is episode 3. And in this episode, guys, we actually get to see Jack actually seeing more of a centralized figure. And we actually get to see Jack actually finally become more focused. And this episode was a very action-derivative episode. And there was so much tension and so much plot devices it used in this episode that, my God, I'm loving the way the authors of Samurai Jack and the animators are going with the route that they're going. It's just intense from the beginning to the middle and to the end, folks. Now, you guys are all probably wondering, like, what's going on in this episode that makes the other episode stand out? Now, let me tell you, folks, this episode, it was more of a homage for Jack to actually come to his senses and actually say, okay, I've killed a human. Yes, he's killed a human, folks. But he has to come to a conclusion that, that he's fighting for his life. He, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what's right or wrong. It's somebody's trying to kill him and he has to defend himself, folks. That's what really is important. And this episode was trying to emphasize the fact that, Jack is not a killer. He doesn't want to kill. That's why he was having all these thoughts that were in his head throughout the whole entire episode. Was because you're looking at Jack as as a traumatized person. You have to think about that. Because remember, guys, in the beginning of the episode, my God, Jack, of course, there was an explosion at that like Aztec building of some sorts, and it exploded, and right there, he basically floated down the river, and from there we don't know what he might have encountered, but the point is that while he was heading down the river, it gave him time to think, and he was actually running. While he was running away, it was very symbolic in terms of him being a frightened animal. He's bleeding. He's just a little fish caught in a giant pond. Like, the river seemed endless, and it felt tiresome for Jack because he doesn't even know how far he actually swam. All he was trying to do was just run away. And that's what he was best at right now, because that's all he could do is just run away. Even if he didn't know they were still chasing after him, but it didn't matter though. All he wants to do is he wants to run away from that particular scene that he actually killed somebody. He was trying to run away from his fears, guys, and that's the thing, that fear that Jack has, that traumatized fear. Like, my God, it just embodied it, in this episode of him running away. And it's funny because the wolf actually came back in the episode, folks. The wolf came back, and man, you guys have to look at that wolf. And personally, I personally found that Jack was finding his focus with that wolf coming to Jack. It felt more of like, not as a visual experience, more like you could say the wolf was more of Jack saying that, okay, I'm in my peace, I'm in my home, I need to start recollecting my thoughts. This wolf was just the embodiment of Jack saying that, he found himself again. And that's what I'm loving about it. Even though Jack was talking to himself in the cave with his, you could say, his alter ego, that self-conscious that is trying to say, Jack, just die. No, it's giving him these thoughts and ideas. It's not Jack's fault, guys. You guys gotta keep remembering that, Jack is still human. There's nothing he could do. And that's the thing about that. It just felt very powerful to me, that seeing Jack just struggling and coming forth right. But he remembered, guys, in the past, he remembered that his father has stained his hands in blood as well. And that's what personally got me interested, because we always seen his father as this war hero. But remember, not only was he a war hero, but he does have his dark times, because they showed a little clip where Jack was really young with his mother and father, and they're riding like inside a horse carriage, and these bandits came by and they started attacking them. And of course, Jack's dad gives him word of encouragement, saying that, do not fret. When there comes a time, he has to take action, And I love that particular scene because of the fact that you see Jack. He's covered in the blood of his father's enemies. Like, my God, you just see his father give that's one-liner right there that says, you guys have an option of running away and letting this all come, just end this now, and let's all part ways. And I'm here thinking, like, Jack's father was he's not really here to kill them. He's really here is to defend himself. That's what Jack's dad was trying to say. And then, of course, Jack then incorporates it in the episode, folks, because later in the episode, Jack finally confronts his fears and actually then attacks the daughters of evil, or Aku's daughters. And my freaking god, folks, the episode, the transition from Jack running away, the motionless sound of the nature involved around, you're here listening, and the transition from the Jack then switching sides and saying, okay, I'm gonna kill these people. I have that state of mind that I'm gonna kill you, but not for blood or not for vengeance, but no, in defense, because at the end of the day, they're not gonna leave him alone. And that's the thing that it was very interesting to see. And we see Jack just fighting these daughters of Aku, just going at it. You see one by one, Jack is one. He stabs one. I believe the other one, he throws her off the cliff. Another one, I believe, he just lets go of the other one. And it's so funny because you're here looking like, wow, we've never seen Jack actually kill somebody. And thanks to Adult Swim, thanks to the Cartoon Network for doing all this, because my god, without this episode, it really would make sense for Jack's character development to actually continue going on. And that's what I'm loving. Yes, Samurai Jack is back in action. Actually, never mind. It's actually going even more better than what it originally was from the beginning, folks. Like I said, it's just interesting to see how the episodes are coming about. Now, granted, there's another topic that I do want to talk about in the episode, folks, is the fact of the daughters of Aku. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because when you guys look at it, the daughters of Aku, they're well-trained ninjas and everything, but this episode emphasized the fact that these women, all they are is just killing machines. And the reason I say is because they personally are envisioning Aku as their god and savior, that they're blinded by that they actually saw, and you can say, I believe it was not a deer, I think it was an antelope. They saw an antelope with the horns and everything, or a moose, one of the two, and they were like, oh look, it's one of Aku's demons. Oh look, it's gonna kill the little deer. And we're of course, as a viewer, looking at it like, what's going on here? Like, this is kind of like interesting that we're seeing that these daughters, all they really talk about is Aku this, Aku that. So it makes sense that they're very ignorant when it comes to outside life. And it makes sense as to why they're so concentrated only on following Jack too, because they're just really just bent on killing. That's all their sole purpose is to live for, is just to kill Jack. I'm sorry. And my god, it was so funny seeing that these people just looking at these animals as if they never seen. They look like they were as if they never even opened a book of some sorts. Which goes a lot to say that Jack basically, he messed up some pretty hardcore virgins right there. Pretty hardcore. But like I said, though, the episode was intense, and like I said, it's very interesting to see how this episode went along. The wolf, I'm hoping that they show more of the wolf, because that wolf symbolism was very interesting to see, but we're not going to see it in later episodes because apparently Jack finally found his way. But the episode did end right there, folks, at where Jack falls to his own death, because remember, he was throwing these girls on the cliff. Now, what happened is Jack also falls because he's on the edge of the cliff, and of course the ground was unstable due to the fight with the daughters of Aku, and the episode ends. I'm interested because, usually the episodes never really end like that for Samurai Jack, but the reason they're doing this is because they want to continue this episode, continue on the next episode, and that's what I'm loving about this series, is actually becoming a straight one storyline throughout this whole entire season. I'm interested at how they're going with this. But let me know down in the comments below, guys, as to what are you guys' thoughts on Samurai Jack episode 3. What are you guys' thoughts on the daughters of Aku in this episode? That, did they deserve to die, or did you guys think that Samurai Jack's actions were justified? Personally, I think they were justified in this episode. He was just defending himself. But like I said, let me know down in the comments below, guys. And as always, guys, if you guys enjoy my content, don't forget to give a like, comment, share, and subscribe for more Samurai Jack episode discussions. And as always, hope you guys are having a wonderful day. But this is Mr. Zen, signing out.